So there we go. Hello, everyone. Welcome to my first live stream. Um, I hope this will go okay. I don't know why I'm feeling a little nervous. It's been a while since I've done anything live, and I guess I'm surprised that people are actually watching. So, hello and welcome, everyone, again. So cool. And yeah, I'll be answering questions throughout this whole process. So I guess I should start off proper by saying, hi, I'm Kazul, and welcome to my not lair. This is my office, and it is currently going renovations, so my background is quite boring. But this is my good computer to stream on, so that's what we're doing it on. And this is the computer I do all my work on too. So, yes, we are going to be, or I am going to be doing a pattern in Illustrator tonight live while I'm answering questions. And the pattern that I'm going to be creating is actually related to my dragon taxidermy project that I've started. So if you remember, or if you watch this video, just a quick recap, like part of the way that I got the pattern on the head was making a little clay sculpt and taking a tape pattern off that miniature. And then I used one of those old school projectors that shine the light and shine it up on the wall, and I just traced it and was able to create like this dragon face. And now I'm using it for a faux taxidermy, but other people mentioned they could use it for like a puppet. So this is what I'm creating the pattern for. So, and like here, this is a scan of the tape pattern that I took from that little sculpt. Yeah, I'm not going to be playing Fortnite on my channel. So this is the pattern, and I've got Illustrator open right here. So we're going to start from this scan, and I'll be tracing it in Illustrator and showing you how I do it, because Illustrator took me a long time to learn, and so I think I have some tips and tricks to help get you started. So first we'll need a file. So we're gonna create a new one, and there's some pretty cool things about Illustrator that I love, that you can not only set the width and the height to like a normal paper width. So this helps for when you're going, like, especially if you want people to print out this pattern. I already set the width to 8.5 and the height by 11. And you can also choose this artboards. So the way artboards work in Illustrator is they just line up different frames almost on the side, like next to each other. And that's what the artboards is. So I just do 6 because that gives me plenty of space to play around. I like to go to more settings to kind of determine how those artboards are set up. So I've got 6 artboards, and you see their orientation is they're going to go from left to right, and then the bottom row. That's just how they'll print out. Columns, I'll have 2 columns, so it'll be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 is the page orientation of how they'll print out. One of the important things is that this bleed right here, you want to set it to all 0, so that if you have any parts of the pattern that are too big to fit on one piece of paper, that they'll just kind of stretch, and there won't be any margin between the artboards. So those are the important things. So I want 0 bleed on all of them. So I'm just going to create this document so you can see. And there you go. So you can see the different pages set up. So I'm going to pause here and look at the chat and see if there's any questions so far. Oh, wow, there's lots of people here. Thanks for coming, guys. You're working in Animate tonight? I love Animate, actually. Flash. I was using like the old school Macromedia Flash from 2004 is when I started using Flash. And so I actually use that as my main drawing program, as weird as that is. I really like vectors. So I draw, I usually, if I want to do some fancy painting, I'll just do the line work in Flash and then export it and color it in Photoshop. Let's see. Kiryu, they asked, is this a puppet or strictly a mount, or will it function as a puppet? So let me go back, bring back the picture. So this little face part can function as a puppet. Like, it's big enough for your hand to put in and, talk around. The way I'm using it is that I mounted it on this, and I have a video about how I built this. So this is actually filled with expanding foam, and the flexible armature is embedded inside. So it's my version of it is stuck on the thing, but the pattern itself could be used for a hand puppet. So yeah, Illustrator can be a butt sometimes, so. Okay, we'll continue. So I'm going to import my, scan. So right now this is like as big as the little tiny clay sculpture. So right here, and ooh, I gotta remember what to scale it by. It's in my video, hold on. I should have been prepared and written that down. But so this is like at 100% scale of that tiny clay sculpt. So I want to scale this up before I start tracing. And hold on a second so I can go see how much to scale it up by, right? Blowing up the pattern. Let's see. I got to blow it up by 292%, basically. So I in the video, I do this fancy little formula to let me figure out like how big of scale I wanted it to be. So this number here, 292, that's what we're going to be scaling it by. So Illustrator, you have to go up to Object, Transform, and you can select Scale, and you want a uniform scale, and it has a % here. So you just have to simply type in 292, okay, and bam. That is how big the pattern is to get like the same size that I had in my image. So about that big. Let's see, and so you can see like almost all these pieces will fit on one. Okay, the two biggest pieces, like this side of the jaw and the top of the head, will have to span over 2 pages and be taped back together, but everything else should fit good. So I'm going to pause and check out the chat. Okay, let's see. Eon Neleth, Lightbringer is easier to say. Lightbringer says that they love doing patterning in Animate and wondering if you'll be able to add scales to the puppets. Oh, the puppet, I'll add scales to it and finish it off all nice. But this is just like a base pattern that people can customize to whatever they want. But I will say I did used to trace and do my patterns in Animate as well, just because I knew the program better. But there's some tools in Adobe Illustrator that are super handy for the scaling and getting the markings that I'm going to show you like really precise. And so I'm going to show you those so you can make like really nice patterns. So now we're just going to, start tracing it and stuff. So I'm going to start a new layer and make sure to lock this layer so I don't mess it up or move it around. Just going to name my layers. So Illustrator is a lot different than any other programs, and so you got to learn how to use the tools. So up here in the side, let me move these frames out of the way. So you'll see all these tools on the side, and the one I will be mostly using is the pen tool. So it's this one here, and if you open up here, you can see this is the pen tool. There's a delete anchor point tool, add another anchor point, and anchor point tool. So lots of different names. I like to pop out this menu, and that's what you see here, just for easier access to those tools. Also, the right above the pen tool, the direct selection tool is the other one that I use a lot of. With the lasso tool or the group selection tool, I use all of these, so I go ahead and pop that one out too and put it on the side for easy access. And this one is from which menu? Yeah, this is the reflect tool. So this has the rotate tool, scale, reflect. I use reflect a lot, not really the scale or rotate for now at this stage. But so that there's, if you open up that little menu there and pop open this little thing, that gives you these floating menus. So the pen tool, I'll go ahead and select, I have a black outline. I want to come over here to my swatches thing. This one right here is your stroke, and the one behind it is the fill, and I just want to, if you click here, it won't have a fill, and then you can select your color. Black is fine. So first piece we're going to trace is this one. So the pen tool is an interesting tool. It works, you select a point, and then you can select the next point, and you can basically draw shapes with this. And if you go back to the first point you drew, then it kind of completes the shape. And yeah, this is looking like you can only draw straight tools with it. But if you come to this tool right under the pen tool, the curvature tool, you can come in here, and anywhere along these paths, you can click and drag and add some curves to this. And if you do the direct selection tool, the shortcut is A. If you come in here, you can let me zoom in on this little piece. So you can see there's some handles, or if you select a piece like this, it's just showing that one point there. Maybe I should have scaled up my vertices. But if you come up here to the top, there's these little handles. So right now it doesn't have any handles, but if I show them, or like we can convert it to a curved one too, or just leave it sharp. So sharp means it'll just like come to a point like this. But if you add the handles, it'll kind of, if you add this curvature, it adds these handles that you can manipulate that like direct the curve off of this point. So there's all these weird manipulation tools. But this is what I love about Illustrators. You can get really precise with this. If you pull the handle out farther, it kind of shoots that curve off, or if you pull it in, it makes it a tighter angle. And so there's lots of customization that you can do. So that's kind of just a demonstration of the pen tool and why I think it's so cool. So we're just going to delete that shape and come back to our real shape. So I like to start with just the regular pen tool and kind of click on the sharp points first to trace around it. And then I'll go in with the curvature tool and try to edit things. So you can also kind of nudge the point around. If you go back to the direct selection tool, if you grab one, you can kind of jostle it around with your arrow keys for even more precision. So back to the curvature tool. On bigger, complicated curves like this, I like to work from just one side to the other, putting those curves in. Also, like when you deselect something, if you want to see the vector points still, you can click. How do I do it? Where are my points? There we go. If you go to if you have your direct selection tool up, then you can see the points. And then you can just say, I like to refine my shapes even more. Like I guess I've gotten enough experience with my patterns and how they translate to foam, which is my material of choice. If you were doing this for fabric, you would have probably different choices that you make. But I think I have enough experience that I kind of know where I can change the shape a little bit. So I wanted to round this out a little bit more. You see, like my tape form is a little janky. So I'm just rounding that out, making it look nice. And also in the back here, kind of rounding out those shapes. And I think that's good enough for that one. Turn off my phone alarm. I thought I muted everything. So there's that shape. I'm going to ignore this piece because I ended up not using it. So back to the pen tool. And then the curvature tool. There we go. Now I don't know what to say. I'm just doing the same steps over and over again. Do you know what has me excited lately though? Is I bought some worms, some composting worms. So I've been using it as a means to redirect some trash from the landfills and turn it into something useful and productive. So I was excited. I have had them for a couple weeks now, and I've been curious how they've been doing. And so I went to feed them today and really dug deep to look for them. And I'm happy to report that I have a bunch of very fat, happy worms. They are very well fed. I actually need to buy more because they can't keep up with the amount of food that I'm giving them. Yeah, worms are the best, and it's been a really cool thing to see them growing and thriving, and I feel good about not throwing away so much garbage. And I don't know, it's been fun. Oops. And go ahead and shoot me any questions if you have any as I go, or if you want to see something a little closer. So there are some things that I will be going to adjust. Both these pieces I don't need. They were going to be like pieces that covered up the back of the head, but I decided that those needed to be opened, and those work better as open for a puppet. But there are some pieces I do need to change, like the inside of the mouth. So this is the mouthpiece, and this is the mouthpiece. I'm almost done with the outlines. I should have brought my taxidermy form in here so I could... It's better if you have like the version that you've built right next to you if you're having to make changes, so you can remember what changes you got to make. I want to round this out just a bit. Oh, I'm going to bring up that picture again. Yeah, those need to be rounded out. The back is good. Okay, that can be a sharp point. I don't think I made it a sharp point. I changed my mind on this one. We're going to make this one a little bit sharper. Let's see. Earthworms aren't native to the US, and they've actually caused problems in native habitats. I didn't get earthworms. I got what are called red wigglers. There wasn't any warnings on the site, and I guess I didn't research that specifically, but I assumed that they were... Because sometimes people will put these right in their compost bin, so I don't think that this particular worm... You can buy European worms, and I'm in the States, so it wouldn't probably be the best idea to release the European nightcrawler into your yard. But the ones I have are not night crawlers, or the the bigger earthworms. They're called red wigglers, so they're kind of skinnier and smaller than earthworms. Okay, I am going to round this one off a little bit. I don't like it pokey. But that needs to be a sharp edge. This is fine. I will curve this one out. Let's see, with the worms, yes, you do clean out the bottom, kind of. So the worm poop is, the nice way of calling it is worm castings. It's like really good fertilizer, compost, organic material for your garden. So occasionally you'll clean out the worm castings and then you can go put that right in your garden and your plants will love it. So that's the point. So you feed them your table scraps, they give you the worm castings, and you go put that in your garden. Because worm poop is awesome. I never thought that in my life that I would be so happy to gather worm poop. Okay, we're done with this step, so I'm going to save real quick. Okay, answering this question. When developing a pattern, how many test builds and changes do you usually make to the pattern before you're happy with it? Anywhere from, like, if I'm really lucky, I only have to do 2 test builds before. So I'll do like the first build, make some changes on, and do the second build, make like a few tweaks, and then the third time is good. But I've done up to like 5 variations with tweaks. That was some of my early ones. Usually I can do it in 2 or 3 now. Okay, so the next thing I have to do is make the changes to these mouth pieces. So I'm going to take the other 4 pieces and I'm going to move them to, I'll move the mouth pieces to their own layer and hide the other ones. Call this mouth. So what I need to change with these in particular is, I'm actually going to hide the scan now too. But before I do that, hold on, I'm going to select all these and make a copy and put them on another layer just to save. In case I mess anything else, I'll have I won't have to redo any steps. So I like to just dump them on a layer to be like complete outlines. So those are saved there in case I mess up and I have to go back and find it. So back to these mouthpieces. So the way I use them in my pattern is they're they're a flat piece that you glue in after, and it holds the sides of the head in place. So they're kind of like the mouth plates. So I am going to be flipping them and merging them with the other half, so they're just one piece that you cut out all at once, so you don't cut out two pieces and have to glue them together. So that's just an extra step you don't want. I'm going to use the edge of my paper as a help to get this as flat as I can. Oh, that looks good. Also, another thing is I need to flatten out this back of the head part. This is the front and this is the back. I don't want it having that little V cut out in the back, so I'm gonna take and move this point down. I'm gonna take this minus anchor tool part, delete that anchor, and then select these vertices down here and make them sharp. Here, sharpen, please. Why will you not sharpen? There we go. So now that back of the head part is flat, copy and paste in place and use the reflect, or over here transform reflect. So flip it vertically and like that, and we're just going to move it into position. So we're going to move that off this, so you can kind of see it's okay that they're not lined up perfect. This is close enough for me. And so we're going to take and we're going to merge these two shapes. So the easiest way is this little symbol over here. It has lots of shape modes that you can do. So this one, like, it'll just unite the entire shape, and anything that's overlapping will just disappear. So click that and bam. It is one. Let's see. Just looking at my chat, seeing if there's any other questions that I missed. Got it. Okay. So that's now the completed top mouth plate. So we'll go and do the bottom now. And just like the exact same as the top. Flattening the back, removing that anchor point, making them squared off. Hi Jeanette, thanks for coming to my stream. So we're gonna do the same thing, transform, reflect. Oh wait, I gotta copy it and paste it in place. Transform, reflect. Move it over. Now I'm going to use the unite command, and on the top of this one there is a bit of a mess here. If I zoom in real close, that I just want to clean up. So using my remove anchor tool, just remove some of these. And sharpen all these. There we go. Okay. And there we go. Ooh, this one had a problem uniting on the bottom. That's okay. We can fix that too. We're going to delete that anchor point and zoom in real close down here. I think those are just overlapping and not actually merged, so I'm gonna select them both and then go to Object, Path, Join. Nope, okay, they are already joined, so we're just going to we'll move them together. Ah, they're both on the same line, so we can just remove one. Oh, another reason why I like vectors too, like working with vectors and making sure that these lines are really precise and good. Like a printer wouldn't have caught those extra nodes there and at the top, the little mess that was up here, which this is still a mess. I'm gonna just delete these. But I do have a laser cutter, and anybody who has like a vinyl cutter, having these lines precise, like you can really control how your blade or your laser moves, which I like to cut out a lot of my phone patterns on my laser cutter now. It saves me a lot of time when I'm working on pattern iterations, because while it would normally take me like an hour and a half to 2 hours to print out the pattern, cut it out, trace it on the foam, cut out all the foam pieces, and start gluing it together. With the laser, I can send the file like this from my computer to my printer and get it cut in like 10-15 minutes. So it saves a lot of time. All right. The mouth pieces are done. So this is the top of the mouth, this is the bottom. And now I want to take the pieces and indicate where the bevels are. If any of you have seen any of my other patterns, like I like to indicate where the bevels are. Let me open up this picture again. So when you bevel foam, let me see, draw with a red. So if you take two flat pieces of foam, this is a cross section, and glue them together, they'll just be straight. And you can kind of bend and curve the foam, and that's all fine and dandy. But if you cut the foam at a bevel, so if you glue two pieces together that look like this, and glue right there and glue them together, you'll end up getting a kind of corner or pointy edge. And that is the key to giving your foam patterns lots of character and some really easy shape. So you can see like all along this edge here, a little bit less in the front. I had beveled the edges, and also along the bottom of the chin here, I beveled those edges so that would be like a sharp corner. So I want to indicate that in the pattern. though this is where the tools really come in handy. So we're going to start with this piece. This is this is this side face part. So I know that along this edge, this is all beveled. And yeah, so we're going to start with that. So right now, this whole path is one united path. Wait, I should pause and see. Well, I'm glad that me doing this live kind of lets you absorb the information, because that's what I was kind of hoping for, so you can see in live time like about how long it takes. Anyways, so what I like to do with my patterns is I like to indicate with a little blue line, like that this would be a bevel that goes inwards. If you watch any of my videos, like my raptor mask pattern or my kitsune mask pattern, both of those show what bevels, and so I like to indicate with a blue, not line, but like a blue fill in this area to show that you're supposed to bevel the knife inward towards the pattern as you cut. So the next useful tool on our list, which I gotta find now. Okay, it shares the same panel as the eraser tool. It is the scissor tool. The shortcut is C. So this allows you to cut apart the path at the vectors. So I'm going to cut right here at the point and also back here. So now these are not two united paths, they are two separate paths. So that's really useful. The next part, I make my patterns specifically for 6mm foam. I just, it's the one I use the most, and so we're going to make like a 1mm fill in this area. So how you do that is this neat tool. You go to Object, Path, Offset Path. This is the coolest tool. So, it's already brought it up, but you see what it did is it like took my path and made an extra path around it, offset at what you can indicate here. Now, if I always forget it, I have to Google search what is 6mm to inches. It is 0.236. So I do that, and well, bam. So this can now be a visual indicator, like along this edge, like all this area right here will be beveled, and that's accurate to like how much will be beveled in your foam, assuming you're using 6mm foam to build the pattern. So, and then, so what I like to do with this is I'll take these points. We're going to change the stroke to a different color, or there, we'll just change the fill to that. I like a little bit of a lighter blue. Change the stroke to, oh no, green. So we're just gonna go adjusting this around. So I don't need the outside the line part, so I'm just taking and dragging these lines in to match up with this curve here, because I only want the inside line. There we go. Cool. And actually, we're going to remove the stroke. So that's looking more like some of my normal patterns, which I should probably put this on a different layer, actually. We're going to make a new layer, and we're going to put it underneath, and we're going to call it Bevels. Paste it in place. Ta-da! And there's that part. Yeah, bevels are tricky to wrap your head around, but they're very satisfying once you like understand them, because they can add so much personality to your design. Okay, so now I just need to repeat that process for this edge, which I'm trying to, let's see, not that picture. Where's my other picture? I'm trying to remember. I sometimes do like a gradiated bevel, and that's why I like to indicate it this way. I will show you that on this piece here. So I'm trying to figure out how the best way to explain it. I should have brought that dumb taxidermy head into the office. So you can see around the eye part up here, this is like the sharpest point, and that is actually like the 45 degrees that you would, or the 90-degree angle that you would get if you beveled the foam at 45 degrees on both sides. So, but you can do a lesser curve or a lesser bevel by cutting one edge at 90 degrees and one edge at beveling at the 45 degrees. Then it just gives you a little bit of a softer corner there. And so I think what I did, I'll have to double check this after I'm done, but I think that I only beveled it on both sides like to about here, and then I only beveled it on one side for the rest of this. And I probably beveled it did the same thing here. Like I know I beveled this front part of the face here, but it was just straight on the back of the head. So let's get cutting this piece apart, because this is the top of the head piece. So we're going to do the bevel on this piece first. So again, object, path, offset path, make sure that it's right, and click OK. Paste it on this one. Okay, this is the center of the head, so we're just gonna put in a bevel down at this point and taper it off about right here, I would say. So let's see if we take this and put it like right there. So you see, this will be like a visual indication that you start beveling it, but then like slowly taper off your bevel to just cut 90 degrees down this direction. just gonna fix this shape. And we're gonna, I guess we gotta select the color from that side. I drop the color from that side, which eyedropping something in Illustrator, it also picks up its attributes, like it's a stroke and fill. Just a neat little fact. Gonna clean up that line. Sometimes it gets a little frustrating like this. All these lines misbehaving. Basically with the key with these handles, like if you get the handle like pointing in the direction you want, it'll usually like behave the way you want. Okay, yeah, so here, this handle was sticking out in a wonky way, but I'm just going to pull it back here and get it pointing down the correct path. And that's better. Not perfect, but good enough. I'm not so concerned with these lines, which I think that's on the wrong layer. Go to your correct layer. I'm not so concerned with the precision of these ones because these are strictly for the printer for the benefit of the person putting together the pattern and not my laser. These outlines, though, those are the important ones for my laser. Okay, now onto this one. Which, yeah, I'm pretty sure I stopped my taper somewhere around here on the eye. So I'm actually going to cut it again right here and just offset this path. Object path, offset path. Okay. Yes, the pen tool does take some getting used to. Like it is frustrating to learn. I'll admit that. But it really is, like, I love the precision it has. Like, I'm just using my mouse and keyboard because I can get the precision I need with it. I don't necessarily need like the artistic freedom of a tablet for this step. Tablets are great for other things. Okay. Yeah, put this on the correct layer. Ta-da! Okay, we're almost done. The last two edges that need beveling are these. Let's see. This is the bottom of the jaw, and this one as well. Let's see. You had tons of trouble with the OEM. Oh, pen tool. Gotcha. Typo. Like for me, the biggest hurdle in using the pen tool was like learning which one of these tools to use. So, and I guess my years of experience from coming from Flash, like those, had some of the same sort of principles, like learning about the lines and the vectors and things, but you don't have as precise a control over them in Flash or Animate now as you do in Illustrator. So it's like, yeah, finding all these tools. That's why I pop out these menus and made it a point to show you where all these were. Oh, also another stupid thing in Illustrator. Sometimes these tools won't pop up. So there's this menu down at the bottom. It looks like 3 dots. These are like all the tools. And if they're grayed out, that means that they're on the bar. But if they are white, they are not on the bar. So I spent like several hours sometime looking for the cut tool, and it was hidden in here, and I had to pull it out. And so, yeah, it's real dumb. So if you're missing a tool, look in this menu. You'll find it. But yeah, let's see. What was I doing? Cutting. Cut. I think I'm going to change the shape of this jaw just a tad. Which, come to think of it, this is just a straight line for this bottom part of the jaw. I could probably reflect this over as well to make it just cut out as one piece. I should probably do that. Make it user-friendly. Okay, we're just gonna do that to the shape. And probably with this one too. That's better. Yeah, so we're going to do the same thing to this as we did to all the, oops, wrong short key, delete that. As we did to the jaw. Okay, I did not line this up very good. Try that again. That's better. Go overlap them and merge them. And I'm going to flatten off this too. Bam. Oh, thank you so much for the super chat. I really appreciate it, Lightbringer. That's really sweet of you. So yeah, this pattern, when I'm done, like, I won't show you guys the process of me like typing out the instructions for how to put it together, but it will be just on my website for download. Since I'm showing you the whole process, like, it'll just be for free. You can download it to your heart's content. Okay, cut. That's what I gotta do. Cut. Offset. offset this, and at the same time I'm just going to offset this one to object path, offset path. There we go. Okay, so we got those two to work on, and this is kind of the last steps. Which I should, if I was smart, I probably should have reflected this over after. Whoa. Well, thank you so much for throwing money in my general direction. It makes me feel good. Let's see, how do I match this shape? This one's going to be tricky. I'm just going to add a vector. It's like I've had people tell me that a lot, that they want to throw money at me, but I'm just like, I don't know. Where did my point go? Illustrator, what are you doing to me? Okay, this is a problem area. Okay, we're going to take... First of all, I need to know that I'm editing the correct one. I'm going to undo some stuff. Select this whole path, put it on no, Illustrator. I was looking so competent up until now. Okay, put it on the correct layer, lock the layer underneath, or the master layer, the real outline layer, so I don't mess things up. Okay. Now that's better. Thank you for cooperating. So one thing while I'm just fudging around lines that I want to say is a lot of my other patterns have registration marks on them. That show you how the foam lines up to help make it a little easier to know, they're registration marks. I don't know how else to explain them. They help you line things up correctly. By nature of how I made this particular pattern, by using the overhead projector, really, what I was going for when I made the pattern first was speed. And so when I made the tape pattern, the original tape pattern for it, I just neglected to add registration marks because I didn't think that I would be publicizing this pattern. But people were interested, and I saw it as an opportunity to show my process. But I just don't have that information, and I don't feel I can add it at this point of the stage because I don't know exactly where they add up. There's a few clues, and this is a simple enough pattern that I think it's okay to put together without registration marks. Registration marks I would usually mark as like little green. I use green as for my color code, like this. Whoops. But the stroke is green. So little green marks where it's like this little green registration mark would line up with another one about here. So when you're gluing it together, you know it lines up. I don't know exactly where these things line up. I needed that information from when I made the tape pattern, but you see I didn't put those lines in here, and so that information is lost, but it's okay. It's a small enough pattern, and it's that makes it easier to put together. Yeah, if you make it, they will come. Yes, that is exactly true. So I should have known better. But that's why that's another reason why I just want to like give this pattern away, because it's simple enough, and I don't have all that information, so it's not like my best work, if that makes sense. So and we're almost done here. Bam. Oops. Oh, thank you for saying that I make phenomenal patterns. I like the process of trying to make something that's simple and straightforward. So it's fun to develop patterns, to develop products like that. So the last step, like I have all these pieces on different layers. So I'm just going to select everything and copy it, hide all these layers to, again, preserve that information in case I mess up something, and paste everything on a new layer. And then I'll go through with all the shapes, because I cut them apart before. We're going to group them together with Control G, or if you go up to Object, Group. So select everything for each individual pattern piece and group it together. These are all one piece anyway. That just makes it easy as you're trying to arrange things on the page, so that you don't accidentally leave parts behind. Okay. Question: You're excited for the Hager remake? Yes, I do need to like remake his entire torso and arms is what I want to remake. Let's see, did I attend the online BlizzCon thing? Of course. I was watching and cheering on the cosplay contest. I thought it was awesome this year because we got to see so many cool international cosplayers, like people who never had the chance to go compete in BlizzCon when it was live, but had the chance to compete now. And so I just thought that was the coolest thing, and we got to see so much awesome new talent. It made me happy. So now this part is just like arranging things on the page, and for these parts that have to span over multiple pages, I like to try to arrange it so that the you know what, this headpiece, maybe I should move this part back a bit. No, the back of his head was fine and flush. Yeah, it's fine because there's that curve. It ends up flattening out a bit. Never mind. back to my point. I like to span it over a place that would lose the least amount of information. So, like, inevitably, a printer will not print, like, let me get a shape to show. Whoop. Like, a printer will inevitably like not be able to print right up to the edge of the paper like this. So there'll be a little bit of information lost, but if you butt the paper up against itself, you can kind of infer where this line is going to be. So that's why I said, like, I want to put it in a place where the least information is lost. So if I put it like this part here, like a bunch, that's like a little bit trickier of an area, so information would be lost. So I'm just gonna move it to probably here. That to me seems like a good place. Probably move it in away from this edge of the print, and we're gonna wiggle this one right here. And I can probably, I'll move this part up here. I'm wondering. This one can go here probably. Ooh, that one's tight fit. So yeah, just juggle the pieces around until they fit on the least amount of pages is what I like to do. There we go. That looks good to me. And then with that done, you can then go through with like the text tool and be like, this is the bottom mouth plate. You know, you can go through and label them. The other information I like to put on here is like cut 1. Since you'll only need to cut one of this. They'll only need to cut one of this piece, but these other 3 pieces they'll need to cut 2. So all right. So I think, let's see, how long have I been going? A little over an hour. So that's basically my process for making a pattern in Illustrator. I hope you learned a lot and are able to create your own patterns, because I like sharing patterns. It helps other people have a starting point with, you know, learning how to craft or starting a new project so they can make more cooler stuff faster. What a sentence, right? Also, like, patterns are a good way to generate a little bit of extra income for yourself to help fund your hobbies. I know hobbies get really expensive. Mine are really expensive. You know, full big cosplays can cost thousands of dollars. So having a little bit of extra income from a pattern that you make for your own project is not a bad idea. So this is how you do it. Before we're done, You can ask any questions and I'll be here to answer them. So there. Now it looks all nice. Look, with this, you can make this. All right. I think that's the end. Doesn't look like anybody has any questions right now. If you have any questions in the future, you can comment and I'll try to get to them. Also, join my Telegram channel or subscribe to my Telegram channel because that's where I post most regularly. Some exclusive stuff, but you'll never miss a social media post if you follow that. I should probably post a link to that. Hold on. Yeah, isn't that offset path tool really neat? I love that thing. Let me, let's see. I'm going to type in the chat. It's just links.kazplay.com. You'll be able to find all my all links to everything. Anyway, that's the end. So I'll just sign off here. Thanks everyone for coming to watch. I'm Kazul, reminding you to embrace your inner beast. Bye. If I can figure out how to sign off, right?